And before I'll be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free. Today, as we celebrate the holiday of Martin Luther King Jr., who was an American Baptist minister and probably the most prominent leader in the civil rights movement from 1955 until his assassination in 1968, I would like to share one of my activist moments at a young age. I was in the fourth grade. I went to Jackson Heights Elementary School. And I can remember it like it was yesterday. This little girl at Isabella Elementary School was made to wash her mouth out with soap. The teacher physically took her out the room, took her in the bathroom, and told her to wash her mouth out with that liquid soap they used to have in the bathrooms back in the day. The little girl had used a bad word. The teacher overheard her, and she made her wash her mouth out with soap. Well, the little girl washed her mouth out with the soap as instructed by the teacher. She ended up swallowing some of the soap, got really sick, ended up in the hospital. Her throat was raw, her lips were burned, and the school that the teacher worked for, didn't do anything about it. They didn't place her on administrative leave or anything. Then they went to the superintendent's office. Her parents went to the superintendent's office, and nothing was done. So leaders in the city of Albany, we had some prominent leaders also in Albany, Georgia. If you all look up Charles Sherrod, he and some more of the leaders in Albany organized a march to march on behalf of that little girl and her family. And they were trying to get the teacher at least suspended. And if they didn't suspend it, they was trying to get rid of the superintendent. Well, I woke up to go to school. My mama said, "You're not going to school today." And I was like, "Why, Mama?" She said, "Because you're going with me. You're going to learn your first lesson on civil rights." I wasn't sure what civil rights was. I was just excited not to be going to school. And I can remember when we were pulling up to park, it was so many black people and white people together that were out. It was so many people marching. And before, I had heard the songs like in movies and I had seen the songs, but after actually like literally marching and singing, "Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around, turn me around, turn me around, ain't gonna let nobody turn me around, keep on a walking, keep on a talking, walking up to freedom land." Those songs that day instilled a different meaning in me. Before, they was just songs that black people sung on TV, and just songs that I heard here and there. And when we would go to the civil rights, like um, things from January, I mean the Black History programs, I would hear them. But after that day and marching, literally marching, holding signs, those songs took on a whole different meaning for me, because I was serving a purpose, a greater purpose. And I'm glad my mother did that, because it taught me a lesson on humanity and serving the people and standing up for a greater good. So I'm going to end this video with part of his speech, Martin Luther King's speech. And won't you all upload a video and tell me about your civil rights moment?
Today, in what will go down in history as the greatest demonstration for freedom in the history of our nation. Five score years ago, a great American in whose symbolic shadow we stand today signed the Emancipation Proclamation. This momentous decree came as a great beacon light of hope to millions of Negro slaves who had been seared in the flames of withering injustice. It came as a joyous daybreak to end the long night of their captivity. But 100 years later, the Negro still is not free. 100 years later, the life of the Negro is still sadly crippled by the manacles of segregation and the chains of discrimination. 100 years later, the Negro lives on a lonely island of poverty. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will they be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that one day, even the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering with the heat of oppression, will be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream. My poor little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day, down in Alabama, with its vicious racists, with its governor having his lips dripping with the words of interposition and nullification. One day right there in Alabama, little black boys and black girls will be able to join hands with little white boys and white girls as sisters and brothers. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day every valley shall be exalted. Every hill and mountain shall be made low, the rough places will be made plain, and the crooked places will be made straight, and the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together. This is our hope. This is the faith that I go back to the South with. With this faith, we will be able to hew out of the mountain of despair a stone of hope. With this faith, we will be able to transform the jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. With this faith, we will be able to work together, to pray together, to struggle together, to go to jail together, to stand up for freedom together, knowing that we will be free one day. This will be the day when all of God's children be able to sing with new meaning, my country tears of thee. Sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride. From every mountainside, let freedom ring. And if America is to be a great nation, this must become true. So let freedom ring. From the prodigious hilltops of New Hampshire, let freedom ring. From the mighty mountains of New York, let freedom ring. From the heightening Alleghanies of Pennsylvania, let freedom ring. From the snow-capped Rockies of Colorado, let freedom ring. From the curvaceous slopes of California. But not only that, let freedom freedom ring from Stone Mountain of Georgia. Let freedom ring from Lookout Mountain of Tennessee. Let freedom ring from every hill and molehill of Mississippi, from every mountainside. Let freedom ring in Whitley Capital. When we allow freedom ring, when we let it ring from every village and every hamlet, from every state and every city, we will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual,